to material things, more so than it is in there. I feel the revolution there is oppression in relation to the mentality.
Actually, the effect of that kind of process has now spread to the street, because you never forget what was done to you, period. And that's the whole thing, is that inside prisons, the situation, you've created a group of monsters. You've actually constructed a monster factory. Now these monsters are coming home to you, and now everybody's trying to figure out what the hell is going on. But you've made them, you know, you are the cause of them, and now you're reaping exactly what you sowed.
Chairman of the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense, Bobby Seale.
These are some messages from around the world, from people, organizations, and black brothers incarcerated, black brothers and sisters incarcerated in the prisons in this country. We're not dealing with anything arbitrary. We're dealing with survival. We're dealing with humanity trying to oppose the state's arbitrary decision to implement capital punishment. We must get rid of capital punishment. And we're saying, in fact, that George Jackson had a right to defend himself, because the state had already arbitrarily chose to kill him, to murder him. Reagan's other state administrators, the parole board, and all the prison officials, etc., and the courts, etc., had already chose to murder George Jackson. Now, where are we going from there? How are you going to explain to the people that George Jackson had a right to defend himself because they had already arbitrarily chose to kill and murder him? A black revolutionary brother, a Black Panther Party member, Field Marshal of the Black Panther Party, acting as a general, defending himself on August, was it the 21st? Well, I say yeah. I say yeah, we say yeah, the party say yeah, we're not backing up off of it. He was a human being, he protected his human dignity, and we're not going to jive with it. People ain't gonna jive with it. The party's not gonna jive with it. We 1-1 with the people. George was 1-1 with the people, only separated from the people, along with 3,000 other inmates inside of San Quentin prison. An empty bed, tears are shed. No more sun after I'm gone. My family cries. Their love has died. My friends are there. Death is the air, my chains unbound. I'm put in the ground, everybody's sad, but I'm glad. It's lucky me, because now I'm free.
I'm by nature a gentleman. I love the simple things of life, good food, good wine, and expressive book, music, pretty black women. I used to find enjoyment in a walk in the rain, summer evenings in a place like Harrisburg. All of this is gone from me. All the gentle, shy characteristics of a black man have been wrung unceremoniously from my soul.
Whatever he wishes to be, and all men will see that one time's too much.
Minister of Defense of the Black Panther Party and a servant of the people, Huey P. Newton.
Power to the people, power to our fallen comrade, Brother George Jackson, member of the Black Panther Party. First, I would like to explain, because many people wonder, what was the connection between Brother George Jackson and the Black Panther Party. When I went to prison in 1967, I met George. When George was murdered in San Quentin, I suddenly realized that after years of conditioning himself, the prison officials had been branded with a force to respect him, because even in death he was their hero. They claimed that he killed 5 men and wounded 3 in approximately 30 seconds. This is impossible practically, but I like to accept it anyway because George is my hero. That even they would say he could do this impossible thing, and then they say he headed for the wall. The wall that's, I don't know, some 30 feet high, and that they say they murdered him because he was heading for that wall. He was gonna, maybe he would escape. He would have to scale that wall to fly over it. And I can't accept this practically, but I have to admit that accepting George as my hero and my stand, it will be necessary for us to do this. We have to either knock down or crush the wall of exploitation and oppression is very, very great. And the oppressed is very, very afraid. He's afraid that we have this Superman power, that we can do it. And we will raise our children to be like George Jackson, to live like George Jackson, and to fight for freedom as George Jackson fought for freedom. We say that even after death, George Jackson still is alive because his ideas, his spirit will be manifested in the physical. Again, we see our young Panthers here who are growing up, and they will grow up trying to live by the standard that George Jackson set. By this, George left a legacy, and he will go on.
Of course we need babies to help fight the protracted wars. Some of the comrades have different opinions on this question in principle, which would be, why should we allow this to happen to anyone else? But I support war on the family plan. The Vietnamese have 6-year-old mine planters. I think if I had been on the street from age 18 to 24, I would probably be a dope fiend or a small stakes gambler or humping the ground.
George certainly died in a significant way, and his death will be very heavy. While the ones that fell that day in San Quentin, their death will be lighter than a feather, because it's insignificant, and even those who support them now will not support them in the future, because we're determined to change their mind. We'll change their mind, or else in the people's name, we would have to wipe them out thoroughly, wholly, absolutely, and completely. All power to the people.
We reckon all the time in the future for the day of the man-child's death. Man-child, black man-child with submachine gun in hand. He was free for a while. I guess it's more than most of us can expect. I want people to wonder at what forces created him. Terribly vindictive, cold, calm, man-child courage. In one hand, a machine gun, in the other, scourge of the unrighteous and ox for the people to